Welcome to the Life Leadership Podcast with myself, Leila Singh, all things coaching, career and personal branding. This podcast is for ambitious career professionals like you, wanting to create a life of choice and freedom, to be, do and have more through overcoming limitations, to develop new perspectives and insights, and to redefine your success, be that in work, health, relationships, and so much more. Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from in the world today. Welcome to Live with Leila. My name is Leila Singh. I am a life leadership and career and personal brand coach, and I work with career professionals typically in the technology industry who want to elevate their career and their life and create a life of freedom and choice through overcoming limitations that are self-imposed and to create new possibilities by redefining your success in work, life, health, relationships, so much more. What I call life leadership, all while showing up as the best version of yourself. So let's go on to today's topic, which you may have seen is yes, you can. So how often do you hear yourself and others immediately responding to something with, no, I can't, because, and then a whole raft of beliefs, stories, excuses, reasons, or whatever you want to call them, then come out and follow that. All of which, by the way, hold us back from taking risks, from creating change in our lives, and more importantly, creating the change that we want to experience in our lives, as well as it holds us back from trying new things and from the good old adage, stepping outside of your comfort zone, which means it prevents us from having everything we want, both in our work and in our life. And you may have seen that the quote that talks about what's on the other side of your comfort zone is everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. Everything you want is on the other side of fearing change, of taking risks, of trying new things. And here's the thing with that. When we were born or we were growing up, we didn't have all of these stories and these beliefs and excuses and reasons for not doing new things, for trying something different. So life, when we were small, when we were very young, was all about change because everything was new for us. Everything was different. And we'd get up and we'd try again, right? So when you're learning to walk, you'd fall over and you'd fall over and you'd roll and you'd crawl and you'd keep trying and then you'd stand up and then you'd fall over and you might bang your head or bang something and hurt, but you still get up and you still keep going, right? And yet, as we grow up and we enter adulthood, what happens? What changes? That suddenly, well, no, we can't try, but what if we fall down? What if we fail? Again, you've heard me say before, there is no such thing as failing, it's learning. Unless you choose to do what Einstein defines as the definition of insanity, which is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results, insanity. But if you're not insane, then what do? You look at what went wrong, what didn't go as well as it could have done, what didn't work, and you take lessons from that and you try a different way or a different approach, or you ask for help or whatever you need to do. And it's the same with learning to walk. So why is it in our adult life we hold ourselves back so much from trying new things? Because ultimately, why is this important? It's important because often when I talk to people, they're feeling stuck, they're feeling fed up, they're frustrated, they're simply not happy in their lives. And outwardly, it may appear that they are, and it may be on social media that it looks wonderful, glorious, and people look and think, wow, I wish I had that life. But underlying all of that is unhappiness, sadness, anger, frustration, worry, anxiety, all of those negative emotions that we hold, which are not serving us. And a lot of that comes from simply choosing to accept what is and not looking to step out and create the life that you want to, which means creating some amount of change, And that's change coming from you, not about changing everybody else or situations that you can't control, but changing the things that you can control, which primarily begins with you. It's about taking those risks and trying something new and asking yourself the question, what is the worst that can happen? What could possibly go wrong? And a better question to ask yourself is, what could go right? What could go really well? And what would be the impact to me, to my life, to the people around me of this going well? And you can apply this to any area of your life. But let's talk about work for a moment. Maybe there's an opportunity to put yourself forward for a promotion, or there's a job that you've seen advertised in another company. You thought, oh, that looks really good, but no, because, and the stories start coming out, right? Let me know if this resonates with you. How many times have you done this? How many times has an opportunity appeared and you may not have even realized it's an opportunity? Or someone's just asked you the question and your response has immediately been, no, I can't because. So my invitation to you is to really start to become aware of the way that you choose to respond to anything, whether it's in your head with your inner dialogue or out loud when someone asks you, or even listening to other people and observing what other people do and recognizing how often we do say, no, I can't because, and start to look at the because and just reflect on that and ask yourself, why is that because so important that it's stopping me from doing something different, trying something new, taking an action, grabbing an opportunity, whatever it might be? And is it really worth it to hold me back? What is it costing me to live behind or hide behind that because statement? So to give you some examples, I've made some notes here to refer to, is the reasons that we come up with for not being able to do something. And you hear these all the time. A great one is your identity. So we'll say, oh, but I'm not a morning person, or I'm not an evening person, or I'm not creative, or I'm not a numbers person. So I'm not a something person. And actually, we're creating that for ourselves. We are hindering ourselves by simply making that statement. Because what we say to ourselves and the way that we talk about ourselves becomes our reality. We live into it. You may have heard people talking about the way that we speak to children. And if you keep telling a child something that is putting them down, even though it may not be intentional on your side, they may, oh, that you're so silly, or, you know, you keep doing this, how stupid is that, or whatever. The kid is going to start to believe it. Or they're going to start to not do things because they fear they're going to get criticized. And it's the same with us, but be aware of how we talk to ourselves, not only about how other people talk to us and how other people talk to themselves, but how do you talk to yourself about you, about what you're capable of what you can do. And then recognize where you're stopping yourself, where you're hindering and holding yourself back by saying, no, I can't because. What is the because? How important is that because to you? Why are you holding on to that reason, that story, that excuse, that belief? Look at the impact of what that is costing you in your future as well as now. So some other examples, you've got identity, like I am not that kind of person, which we often say. I say I'm not a morning person. Anyone who knows me knows I will say that. But actually that's not true. And when I need to be, I can be. When I was in my full-time employment and I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning, I did. And I did it for years and years. So yeah, I am what I want to be or what I need to be at any point in time. I get to choose, and so do you. So start to be aware of the identities that you're putting on yourself, and how are they really serving you at all? What are they doing to hold you back? What other reasons do we give for saying, no, I can't because? Well, it can be the stories we tell ourselves. It may be that once before we applied for a promotion, a new job, to put ourselves forward for something, and we got rejected. And what happened then? When we got rejected, we then decided, well, we're not going to do that again because we don't want to face that rejection. So past experiences could be the driver for why you say, no, I can't because. It might be because of fear. Now, fear is a big one. Fear could be so many different things on so many levels. Some of the obvious and the bigger reasons are fear of failure. And then again, it's whether you deem something to be failure or not. It's all about the meaning that we put onto the experience. Is it a failure or is it a learning? Look at all the people who are super successful. How many times have they tried something before they got it right or before they succeeded? You don't hear them talking about failure, failure, failure. They just keep trying and learning. That's the lesson. Get the lesson from what didn't go well and applied it in a different way. So there's fear of failure, there's fear of success. Sometimes we fear that if we are successful, what does it mean? Perhaps we have a fear of being found out, of imposter syndrome. So we don't want that success because we feel like we'll get caught out. It could be success means a number of other things for us, both personally and maybe in our life. And therefore we're like, although we say we want something, actually we don't, because something else is more important. Embarrassment and shame. Maybe we fear doing something because of what if it doesn't work out, or what if we embarrass ourselves, or we feel ashamed. So think about the meanings that you're putting onto the situations that could occur, the potential outcomes, and those reasons you're putting onto it, because they're yours. And yes, there will always be people who will judge, who will have an opinion. But here's the thing. Do you want to live your life based on other people's opinions and looking good for others, or and then missing out on potential opportunities, potential experiences, change, elevating your career, your life, and not doing so because you're worried about other people might say? Something to really think about there. Another thing is excuses that we make, but we're not ready yet. The timing isn't great, or we need to get more training, or we need to get more experience, or I'm not going to apply for that job because I don't know 30% of it. Really, like for me, when I hear that being said, and I know it's a huge statistic, particularly for women, and why they don't apply for jobs and put themselves forward, because they feel they need to know 100% of the job spec. For me, if you know 100% of a job spec, why are you even applying for the job? Where's the growth? Maybe you're getting a higher salary and that's all that's important to you. But if you want to always be learning and growing, which for me is a huge value, is about ongoing growth, learning and development, then you want to be taking on roles where there's an element of growth for you. There's an element of that role that you don't have experience of, that you're going to go in and you're going to learn. And it's okay. It is okay to ask questions. Something else that I hear often is that, well, I can't show that I don't know something. Well, of course you can. Of course you can. Even if you were going to do the exact same job from company A to company B will do it most likely in a different way to company A. So you will need to ask questions. But we have this perception that by asking questions, it's a failure. It looks bad on us. It reflects really badly. Yeah, if you keep asking the same question over and over, yes, of course. But if you can ask it once and possibly twice if need be to get the clarity you need, that is okay too. So start to really tune into what follows when you say the sentence, no, I can't because. What is that because? Why is that because so important to you that it's holding you back from creating the life that you want? And what I'd like to do very briefly is just to share with you a couple of examples of things that I have done. Why? Because on a weekly basis, I will sit here and I will share a topic with you. I share an insight or a coaching topic that comes up from my sessions about human behavior, about emotional intelligence, about the way that we show up in the world, how we're being, all of those kinds of good things. And sometimes you might be thinking, well, who am I to say this? What have I actually done? And I wanted to just give you a couple of examples today where this comes into play, where I have gone with the yes, you can option. And I'll give you a quick summary, and I'll delve into some of these maybe on a different live. But this is to give you some resonance to what I'm talking about. So for me, one of the biggest things is my career changes. So I've had a 25-year corporate career. And I've moved from qualifying as an accountant initially and spending a number of years in finance roles to then stepping out of that and going into a sales role in recruitment. A huge change for me, starting from scratch, not really having the skill set, so having to learn from day one on the job and being really successful at it. So again, had I not done that, I wouldn't have been able to look back and realize that for me, you never know what you're truly capable of until you go out and do something different. Another example is leaving my corporate career to set up my own business. Again, I remember as it came to that was my own decision. I made the decision to hand my notice in and to go full-time in running my own business, my coaching practice. And as it got closer to the date for me to leave, I was then thinking, oh my God, is this a really good idea? Should I stay? And the question to ask yourself then is, what is the worst that could possibly happen? And for me at that time, it's okay, if I don't enjoy it, if it doesn't work, what is the worst that could happen? I'd go get another job. Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that just getting a job is that easy, but I'll go look for another job, whether I could go back into what I was doing previously, maybe go get a job at the local supermarket, check out just to earn some money until I could get something that I wanted to do that was more aligned with my career, whatever it is. But there are options. There are always other options. So for me, it was like, actually, you know what? If this didn't work, then I have other options, right? So it's asking yourself those questions to really understand what is stopping you from making that step, that change. Another thing is public speaking. Throughout my corporate career, I was actually quite, I hated public speaking. I hated having to do presentations. I would dread it. I would feel physically ill. I would be up for days on end trying to learn everything by rote so that I could regurgitate it, because I was that scared of forgetting what I had to say. And again, took myself out of my comfort zone. First of all, overcame the fear of standing up and speaking in front of others. And then I went on to develop the skill of public speaking through an academy to then be able to mentor and coach other people on the skill of public speaking. And it's a powerful skill to have. It really, really is. But again, if I look to where I was, say, 10 years ago to where I am today, and being able to do that and being able to deliver a TEDx talk, something I would never have imagined 10 years ago. And again, when I did my TEDx, you may have seen the interview that I put out afterwards, which talks about how I almost didn't do it. I actually did attempt to pull out. When I got accepted to do the TEDx, I then had a panic and thought, no, not ready, haven't got enough time. All the reasons, all the no, I can't, because started to come out. And with the help and encouragement of people around me, I went ahead, and I'm so glad that I did. And I look back and I think there's a lot of learnings I took from it. I know it could have been a lot better, but I've done it. I am a TEDx speaker. And if I have the opportunity to do it again, I'll know some of the things that I've learned from that experience that can help me to do it better. But at the same time, what if I hadn't done it? What if I just said, no, I'm not going to do it? I'd never have known what I was capable of, or I wouldn't have learned what I did learn from it. So you see, there's so much that does come out of taking those risks, of taking those chances. Since then, other things that I have done. Before I did some of the trainings with Tony Robbins, I had initially attended his UPW event. And as part of that, for those of you who know or have attended it, you get the opportunity to walk across hot coals. And I attended that event with absolutely no intention of walking on those hot coals. And yet, long story short, I found myself that first, I think it was the first evening, in front of the hot coals. And it was like, the coach was like, right, go. And I went and I did it. Didn't get any burns. I got across the hot coals. And I was like, oh my God, I did it. And then a year later, while I was doing my master practitioner in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Program training, the opportunity was given to us to walk across broken glass. And again, I remember that week, because it was a week of training, I remember saying at the start to the others, I've done the coals, I'm not doing the glass. There was no way on this earth I'm going to do that. And on the day itself, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And I was like, no, I can't, because, and in that case, it's because I have a high risk of bleeding. I have a blood disorder. And I was thinking, oh my God, well, what if I get a cut on my foot? I'll bleed out. I'll need to go to hospital. It'll be an emergency, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to do it. And so there was a huge, what's the worst that could happen? And I sat there and I was very emotional. I was crying. I watched everybody else do it. And then at the very end, I spoke to my trainer, and we had a conversation, and he said, okay, look, I'll walk alongside you. I'll be there. If anything happens, if you slip, I can just lift you up straight away. And I thought, everyone else had done it, so why can't I? Is my because strong enough? And I thought, no, it's not. So I did. I closed my eyes and I walked across the broken glass. And that left me with elation, because it really showed me the power of your mind. Because you look at the glass, it's broken bottles all smashed up, and it's in a like a little lane. So you walk down this little lane that they've created with it to the other end. So you're probably taking, I think it was about 6 or 8 steps to get across the glass. Yeah, and I didn't have a single scratch, a single cut, and I got across it. It was all good. Had I not done that, I would never have known, right? What else? So this is a big one, and this was literally just 2 weeks ago. You may be aware that I've been away in the Caribbean delivering a retreat and workshop, and as part of the event, myself and my partner organised scuba dive for the delegates, because they all wanted to do it, so we organised that as part of the trip. And I am not a strong swimmer. I learned to swim in my adulthood, so probably about 15 years ago. Very limited swimming ability, I can assure you. I will only swim in a swimming pool where I can stand up in the water. Can't swim in a deep pool, because and I'm working on improving. I'm looking at lessons, getting some lessons in the next few months to improve, because I want to improve my swimming. But I have a fear around water, particularly the sea, the ocean. I won't really go in the water. And so I had absolutely no intention of going on this scuba dive, because for me it was like, I just don't do that. I don't do that because. So long story short, the night before the scuba excursion, a couple of the guys who had experienced huge shifts with their own mindset and the way they were looking at things started to very gently and kindly encourage me to participate. And I said, no, I'll come along on the boat, but I'm not going to go in the water. Little did I know that my partner then emailed the company to let them know that another person will be joining and will need all the gear. And unfortunately, they picked up the message early on in the morning, and we were all meeting up at 7:30, and they came along with the gear. And I did the first dive, and I'm not going to lie, I was crying. I was very frightened. I was really uncomfortable, really, really uncomfortable. Struggling to even just breathe with all the gear on and stuff. And yeah, initially didn't enjoy it, but then eventually I managed to kind of relax and to enjoy the experience. Little did I know there was a second dive. So when we got back on the boat, there's me thinking, oh, done now, I've done it. Wow. Then we moved into deeper waters, and we had to get into the water, we had to put the gear on the boat and then flip backwards into the water. And the instructor demonstrated this, to which I immediately said, I'm not doing it. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I can't swim. I'm not going to do it. And with getting some encouragement and the realization that what's the worst that could happen, because at this point the instructor said, look, I'll hold on to your life jacket. So when you fall, because I was scared when I fell in, I can't swim in such deep water. And I can't stand up. So he said, I'll hold on to your jacket. So when you fall in, I will have you. So you won't go anywhere. And I was like, okay, that works. And that's what I did. I will share the video of that. I'll probably post that out tomorrow. So do look out for that. But the point of this, of why I'm sharing all of these things, is because these are all things that I've done where I had to say eventually, and it took me time, yes, you can. Yes, I can do this. Otherwise, I would be living my life saying, no, I can't because, which means what? It means I wouldn't be here. I'd probably still be working as an accountant somewhere. Not to say that's a bad thing, but I would have missed out on so much more in my life. I would have missed out on the other opportunities I experienced by working in corporate finance, treasury, in sales, as a sales exec, moving into an amazing tech company and getting the opportunities and experiences that I did. I would have had different ones, of course. But actually, the route that I took and the chances that I took and the risks that I made enabled me to really stretch myself, to push myself, and as I said earlier, to realize what I'm truly capable of. And even 2 weeks ago, to be able to do scuba dive for me was massive. I never, ever believed that I would be able to experience what is actually going on below our oceans and the life below there, below sea. And for me to do that in such deep water. And yes, would I do it again? I would, but I would still need to have an instructor with me. So until I'm a much more confident swimmer, I wouldn't go out on my own. However, I've now done it, and I can say that I've done it and I've experienced it. I never would have otherwise. The TEDx talk, the public speaking, the setting up my own business, all of these things are things that I did through taking those risks, through saying, yes, I can. And often being really scared, having a lot of fear, and then remember, so what's the worst that could happen? So I'm inviting you today, the next time you hear yourself saying, no, I can't, because whatever it is, however big or small the thing is, just slow down for a moment, stop, pause, and turn it around and say, yes, I can, because, and realize what you are truly capable of. Otherwise, you will continue, like many of us do, to hold ourselves back in life, to miss out on opportunities. So grab those opportunities and remember the answer, the response to the question, can you, would you, is yes, I can. So let me know if this has resonated with you, what you've taken away from this. What's the next thing you're going to say, yes, I can to? And also let me know how you get on. If you'd rather message me directly, please do. I hope this has been eye-opening, it resonated with you, it's given you some food for thought today. So until next time, remember to elevate your performance, maximize your potential, and create new possibilities by showing up as the best version of you. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next time. Take care. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so. And if you enjoyed and gained value from today's episode, then do please leave a review telling us your key learnings and what you enjoyed the most. And do please share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can spread the word on life leadership, creating a life of choice, freedom, and new possibilities. Connect with me directly on LinkedIn, and if you would like to learn more about how we can work together, either DM me on LinkedIn or email me. All details and resources can be found in the show notes.